Relationships aren't always sunshine and rainbows. Just like in nature, you can't have rainbows without a little rain.
Journey with us
Shani Goodson.
and Dr. Sunjata as we share stories and insights about our thriving, unconventional love life and our unique take on relationships and consensual non monogamy. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey y'all.
Welcome back
What's the season 2, episode 2?
to SunShan Rainbows.
Yeah.
Back at it again. I gotta just say real quick. This is like my favorite Love Y'all design, this retro design. You like it?
I like that one. Yeah. That's a
It's my
fun
favorite
one.
one. I gotta point it out because I love it.
Comes in different colors, you know. I feel like you need a couple colors.
True, true, true. I might get a few different colors of this one. But yeah, so episode 2, we're here to talk to you about
Yeah.
nesting.
Nesting.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you don't know what that is, because maybe you don't use that term, it just means living together, cohabitating, merging your lives in that way.
yeah, doing day-to-day life together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Commingling in that way.
yeah, and within consensual non-monogamy and polyamory, you can be married or not
Hmm.
and still be nesting and doing life together.
I would even say you could be romantic or not and still be doing life
Yes,
together. I think there are some platonic life partners who like
indeed,
to do life together.
indeed,
So yeah, especially in the context of relationship anarchy, you know, you can nest with people who maybe you're not romantically involved with too.
indeed, indeed.
It's definitely a deep level of enmeshment when you nest with someone. I definitely think you need like a lot of alignment. So we're
Mhm.
going to talk about that
Yeah,
today
yeah,
and talk to y'all a little bit about like how and why we got here and decided to nest.
yeah, yeah,
Um, I think we have different stories about that, so that should be fun
yeah.
to
Because
compare that.
yeah,
Let's start with you.
I mean, yeah, both of us were in marriages,
Yep, we've
and
both been nested
and
before.
monogamous marriages before we met each other.
Yep.
So we have been, nested as adults within the context of like romantic
Hmm.
love and relationship. Um, and if you didn't watch season 1, you can get the full story about how I got here to consensual non-monogamy and polyamory, and how I went through a divorce, etc. But what I'll share is that almost, I would say within the first 6 months of being on my own again and not being in that, having a day-to-day life partner, I started to crave it. I enjoy being married. I enjoy being married. And I enjoyed that partnership. I enjoy having someone to lay my head down to every night with a pillow talk, etc. Right? Somebody to, just do random, run errands with all those things that
Yeah.
yeah, someone to be a rider, a rider die, a rider thrive, not die, a rider thrive. And, I was definitely feeling the void, and I decided very early on that I wanted it again. And, I I'll say that it was a bumpy, windy, twisty roller coaster of dating and relating in this context for 4 years. 4 long years. It felt like forever. Felt like forever of me like intentionally wanting to attract a nesting partner. And that just happened in 2024 for the first time.
The
The,
nesting,
the
yeah.
nesting. This one right here.
Hey. It's interesting because so when I first got separated, I was sure that I was gonna get married again. Like that was I was like, okay, first one didn't work. It's like it's the first pancake. Throw it out. Let's make a new one. And as time went on and my relationship continued to like disintegrate, I decided more that I didn't want to be married. It felt really hard to get out of it. A lot of the labor of ending the marriage, like officially ending the marriage, landed on me. and I just didn't ever want to do it again. It was just too much work. And so I was like, you know what? I don't want to be married. And I was living in Houston, and I was like, I don't even want to live with a man. I was like, I don't even want to live with a man anymore. I was like, if I live with somebody, it's going to be a platonic life partner. It's going to be like another single mom who has kids, and we're going to like do that. That was like my what I was thinking.
Mm.
Um but I would say, let me think. I would say maybe like 2 months into our relationship, I was like, I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see this happening, especially after I went to his house. Okay. And I got to see that it was like not messy and crazy in there. I was like, okay, hold on. I might be able to do this.
Yeah.
So, I've gone back and forth. Let's say that. I change my mind all the time. And I have changed my mind several times about wanting to nest, not wanting to nest.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're here though. I'm
Yeah.
glad we
And
got here.
and we didn't get here fast.
Nope.
We didn't rush it. So when I met Shani, I was like, you know, several years in by that point of intentionally dating several women to ultimately not get what I desired, which was a nesting partner. So when I met Shani, initially she was living in Houston the first time we met. So I was like, yeah, cool, but I'm looking to date people that are local because I'm looking for a nesting partner. So, in my mind, like we could be friends, we could be cool, but that's about it. But then we when she decided to move to Atlanta, my the possibilities opened up, and my mind and heart opened up to her and I dating with that intention. Well, I'll just say dating with that intention, and the way I worded it was like it's not. I remember saying something like, I know it's not guaranteed
Uh-huh.
that we're gonna land in like a nesting situation, but that is something I desire. And I just wanted her to know, like, that's what I desire. I'm not like, no pressure. I didn't want her to feel pressured. I just wanted her to know that's something I desire. And I would like to like date with that on both of our minds as a possibility, like to vet each other for that possibility. Right.
When we first started dating, I would say that was definitely what you were, saying. You were like, I want a nest. It doesn't have to be you, but I want a nest. And I kind of was the same. I was
Yeah.
like, he wants to nest. It doesn't have to be me.
Hmm.
And that gave me some comfort. Okay. Like knowing that because we're non-monogamous, knowing that if he wasn't going to get the nesting from me, that he could get it from someone else was actually a relief.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you said, it took the pressure off.
Yeah.
And so I was able to kind of feel into our alignments and feel like this is what I wanted. I didn't feel like you pushed me here in any
Hmm.
way. So that was important for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And
And
that's.
and hold on, when
Mhm.
he says that his heart opened when I said that I was going to move here, it was like night and day. Okay. The conversations that we had before when I was long distance versus after, you could just tell he was just much more like open. He was just much more like, all right, tell me about yourself. I'm really listening now. Like, I
Yeah.
definitely felt
Yeah.
like it was a switch for you.
Definitely. And something that comes to me, I think about like in conventional context, how people approach getting nested, which usually is accompanied with marriage in a conventional context. And it's like when you meet someone, it's like, that's going to be my wife. And it's like, from a man's perspective, like I learned that I'm supposed to give that, like, you're going to be my wife energy from day one. And I'm like courting you to be my wife. But I took a totally different approach because we're non-monogamous, but also not just that, is because like we both identify with a lot of the like RA, relationship anarchy principles. um and we're not just looking for the one, so I don't have to give that type of like, you're gonna be my wife, locking you down right now, taking you off the market type energy. That doesn't apply here. And also, just because of experience, I realized that I'm looking, let's say this, experience being married, and then realizing that there were certain things that I craved and I needed I wasn't necessarily getting, etc. It's like, no, I want something that's going to naturally align, and it's going to take time to figure that out. And I just wanted to create, communicate in a way where you knew that while I want this, I want it to happen naturally. I don't want to force it, if that makes sense.
It definitely makes sense.
Mhm. And you were open to that.
I was definitely open to it. I think I also kind of sensed your um optimism early on, like you're an idealist in a lot of ways. And I think the vibes were so good at first. I think you knew, where this was going, especially when we
Yeah.
were spending time together.
Mm.
I feel like we were spending that time together, but you know what I mean?
Y'all, let me tell you, when she said she was moving to Atlanta, our first phone call was totally different from the time we literally met up a few months earlier, or not even a few months,
Few
a few
weeks.
weeks earlier in person when she came to Atlanta for a party. And it was just like, it was all good. I thought she was cute, she was fine. But again, in my mind, friend zone. But then when she said she was coming to Atlanta, the first conversation we had after that, which was the first time we talked on the phone. Prior to that, we were just texting outside of seeing each other for that coffee date, or coffee meetup. um, you know, when you came for the party. So when we hopped on the phone a couple weeks later, y'all, everything just lined up. It was like, now all of a sudden, the sparks that didn't happen when we met in person were sparking over the phone. We were saying things, and the other person was like, I was just about to say the exact same thing. And I'm bringing up, my sensibilities about different areas of life around, like, parenting and politics and eating and working out. And she's like, I do this, I do that. I believe that the same way. I live this way. It was like everything was just lining up. There were so many alignments that just emerged right off the bait, right off the back, right after that first conversation. And yes, when I got off that first phone call, y'all, I was so optimistic that like this could really, really, really be something.
I think you are so anti LDR. Like he is like, no, I need you to be here. Like I want to spend that quality time with you. I want to touch you. I want to be able to smell you. Like
Yeah.
he's very not an LDR guy. So
Long
you're,
distance relationship. LDR means long distance relationship.
thank you.
Hmm.
Um, I was also feeling optimistic because, like you said, the things were like clicking and lining up. But I was like, it's okay. We live 15 minutes apart. Like 15 minutes is great.
Oh, that
I
was
was like, you're
everything.
down the block. It was so
Atlanta's huge. You could have moved anywhere.
right.
When she chose to move 15 minutes, I mean, this was months later. She decided in February and moved in June, but it was probably a couple, maybe 2 to 3 months later that she said, you know what? I'm going to look in your city,
Yeah.
because Metro Atlanta is like 11 different counties, and we're in, well, I was in, and then she decided to look, ended up finding a spot 15 minutes away. And that really, really set things up for us to really see, like, be close enough to really determine if we were going to be a good fit to nest.
And I think that was so as the more time we spent together, the more time we wanted to spend together.
Yeah.
I remember we used to kind of put some space between our seeing each other.
Mhm.
And then we started just kind of gradually, organically, naturally getting into this almost semi-nested type thing where
Yeah.
we had a routine, like he would come at this time to my house at this time, and then he would leave at this time, and I would go to his house at that time. And
Yeah.
so we ended up in this routine where we were basically living together anyway. And it was like, well, it's logical for
Yeah.
us to, move in together.
Yeah.
So I really love how that went because, the organic, the let it unfold, the slow burn. I live for that.
The slow burn was 2 years, y'all. Like literally 2 years, y'all.
A little
Like,
over.
like I'm gonna be real. I have been through. Let's just say this: I wasn't willing to deal with like getting it wrong. Hope you're enjoying this episode. Let's take a quick break to tell you about something that we've been working on.
We're excited to announce our course and coaching program, Relationship Bliss, where we help polyamorous people transform their relationships into highly compatible, peaceful, deeply aligned, and blissful partnerships.
We do this by sharing techniques for effective communication, deeper connection, and conflict resolution. The program offers a self paced course with 5 learning modules, 25 training videos, and live virtual coaching sessions with us, Shani and Sunjata.
Learn more at go-growdialogue.com.
Thanks for listening. Now back to the show. I just didn't want to get it wrong. And, going through a divorce and dating several people and for things to fall apart, and some of
Mhm.
it wasn't pretty. It was like, nah, I'm not, it's no rush. I want this, but I'm not rushing it. Like, let's take our time. And we both agreed, like, I would say honestly, within the first, few months, I'm like, I can live with this woman. I see it, I feel it, everything feels great. Even after that first year, we talked like, should we? And he's like, nah, I'm gonna re-up my lease and do one more year.
Yep.
And I'm grateful that you did that. I mean, especially when you talk about kids and everything. We talked about that in the previous episode, but like it's just so many things that we had to see and
Yep.
understand about how we date other people and how that will impact us, how we
Yeah.
parent each other's kids
Yeah.
and, or love on each other's family and friends. And there were so many things that being able to see each other in different scenarios over the course of 2 years, that I think that was a great decision.
I think so too. And it's funny that you say that because I want to say, what was it, like 9 months in? I feel like we were driving in the car and you basically were like, was it 9 months or was it like a year and a half? I don't remember, but you were basically like, this is as close to a proposal as you're going to get. It's like, I'm pretty sure I know where we've landed. I'm pretty sure I want to nest with you. And like, this is the proposal, girl. It was like in the
That was
car.
definitely 9 months. It wasn't a year and a half. Year and a half,
Okay.
we were already planning on the new spot.
That's true.
So yeah, it was definitely like within 9 months of
And
us
we
dating.
still waited like another, 15 months or so
Mm,
because caution, and
just
like you
wanted to get it
said,
right.
yeah, wanting to get it right for the kids also, like you said,
Mhm.
providing like stability and not having to move them. And you would hate to move in and fall apart and then have to just, immediately um part ways
Yeah,
in that way. That's another thing I feel like why we ended up being comfortable with this situation with nesting is because even if we transition away from our romantic connection, I still think we could still
yes.
nest.
Yes, I
Like
agree.
I still feel like we could nest even if we were just on some platonic familial.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. And we talked about the different buckets in season one in
Mhm.
terms of like how the ways that we're aligned in these five relationship buckets. Highly recommend going to check that episode out. Um, but absolutely, that's the beautiful thing that we were able to like talk about even that before we nested. Like if our romantic connection transitioned for whatever reason, could we still do day-to-day life together and support each other in a platonic familial context? And the answer is absolutely yes. Like we complement each other so well in day-to-day life, context around children, around like just our sensibilities, around the way we want to be in a household and feel like at home, and also in business and in partnership and endeavors like this and projects like we complement each other in all those ways so, so well. So yeah, that's dope.
I will say we have had some bumps when it comes to nesting. Nothing between us. If anything, I would say nesting has made it more like teamwork against like whatever nonsense is coming toward us, whatever adulting nonsense. You know what I mean? Y'all adults know what I'm talking about. It's relentless. Like
Hmm.
always something comes up, you got to pay something or
Hmm.
something happened or this
Hmm.
broke or whatever. Like we've
Hmm.
faced a lot of those issues
Yeah,
and I kind of feel like it has made for me, it has deepened like the familial connection with you.
yeah,
Like I feel like living together makes me feel like you're my rider.
yeah,
Living together makes me feel like you're my family. And that's one of the things that I've enjoyed anyway. That's one of
yeah,
the changes to our relationship.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, as of the recording of this, we've been nesting for what?
5 6 months.
Okay, so like 5, 6 months, and it's we've we're battle tested. Like even though we were like battle tested for those 2 years in terms of dealing with a lot of scenarios around like being polyamorous and things. But now coming to share a household, like you mentioned, around like household things and things breaking down and having to fix things and money, y'all.
Oh,
As we know, like people say that money is one of the biggest reasons that relationships end, marriages end. And we've
when
been
you
able,
nest, you that has to
that
merge.
has to
Your
merge.
finances have to merge.
And we have to communicate about, finances and the hard things. And
And that's hard for me.
it takes
Like
a lot of trust.
the way that I grew up is just not it's not easy for me to talk about finances.
Mhm.
So it has challenged me in that way, but in a good way. Like I feel like I'm growing.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting past some of the hangups I had. So
Yeah. And it's been challenging. It's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time, y'all. But fortunately, we have tools to work through challenges. We're not, trying to sit up here and act like there aren't bumps
yeah.
and, there aren't times where there's stress. And, etc. And or miscommunication, signals getting crossed.
Mhm.
All those things happen like in other relationships. Again, fortunately, we have the tools, we have our check-in meetings and things like that, where we can always get back into alignment when things get, you know, out of alignment for whatever reason.
It also helps that you're just like so willing to do that. You're so, and I'm talking about this because the ladies know what I'm talking about. I feel like sometimes guys, this is a generalization, but sometimes men are try to be kind of stoic and they don't want to talk about certain things, or they don't want to hear your feelings. They don't want to hear what you have to say about that. Get to solutions. I feel like he's always trying to understand my perspective in ways that feel loving, that feel like he's really genuinely, you know, interested in understanding where difficulties come from, or like where our signals got crossed. So I appreciate that about you.
Thank
That
you.
helps.
Thank
We
you.
didn't even get to the segment. Darn, I'm jumping the gun.
It's all good. It's all good. She just teased what our segment is going to be about. But you know what? And I got to give that right back because there's women as well that aren't great communicators,
Mm,
that go within
mm,
and, would rather avoid the hard conversations. And you've even shared that certain topics, like you just said, that money being one of them is one
mhm.
of those things that you would go in. And because you're used to handling so much on your own, it was hard to trust that I got you in the ways that I got you. And I appreciate that would allow me to do that, and then you've opened up and start communicating some of your fears, your vulnerabilities, and all those different things. Like, it's not easy, you know what I mean? So I appreciate you, doing the same.
Aw.
So yeah, I mean, but and just some of the good things, I mean, being able to go to bed with her every night, and know, like, whereas before I would be like, can I come over tonight? Or you having
Wanna
company,
go
the
for dinner?
company. Can I come for, especially dinner, y'all? See, I hated cooking. I don't like cooking. That was one of the biggest struggles of not having a nesting partner who liked to cook, and me having to feed myself was a whole struggle for however many years it was. And Shani loves to cook, and she's a great cook. She's a creative cook, and I had a list, y'all, and y'all might have heard about this list. And creative cook was like one of the things that I had on this list of what I was hoping to attract in a nesting partner. When I tell you that eating this woman's food is better than any restaurant,
Aw.
like the experience that I get here is like top tier. She
I,
bakes and she cooks. Man,
I swear this was one of the things that before we lived together, you would be like, I can't wait until there's just food in the house. I can't
it's
wait
just
until I don't have
always
to
food.
drive for dinner.
Right?
Yeah.
And I would drive, and most nights, like she said, we were already semi-nested, but I would still drive over there. Now I just come home or I'm already here because I work from home most of the time. So I'm just already here. So that's been amazing. It's been so many like fun, easy, amazing things that have, been a part of my reality since we've been nesting. And that's one of the biggest
It's
ones.
funny because like I would say we don't really subscribe to like gender roles so much. We're more like team players, but sometimes we do fall into those gender roles, like the cooking.
Hmm.
He also like takes the trash out most of the time, so that's kind of like cooking, and he handles most of the car stuff. So that's
Hmm.
also kind of gender based. But he also cleans. Like he sweeps, he wipes things down. Like
Every day.
he cares about that kind of stuff, and I appreciate it because
I clean the
um
bathrooms,
first of all, he
I
sees better than I
vacuum.
do, so that helps. Like he like, do you see that dirt in the floor? And I'm like, oh yeah, 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 I see it. So like he just sees things that I don't see. He helps. I don't feel like I have to pick up after him or he's my child or something. You're like a partner in that way.
Yeah.
We're a team in that way.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's important to point out though it's definitely not within the idea of like gender roles in a way that we um collaboratively care for this household.
Mhm.
It's more like the things that we have our strengths in.
Yes.
Some of them happen to fall in conventional gender roles, but that's happenstance.
Yes.
It's not like, well, you're the woman of the house, so you should be doing the cooking.
Right.
It's just that just happens to be, her gift or her strength and something she enjoys. I just happen to enjoy sweeping floors.
I think he just likes seeing clean floors because he
Yeah,
look at the floor, he'd be like, this floor will not do. Okay, we
right.
gotta clean this.
Yeah, and so yeah, so the things that we do and the ways we complement each other is like it's been really easy. I can't think of one thing where it's like neither one of us like to do it, so it's like it's hard to get done. And if it is, we figure out a way to do it. but has been nothing polarizing that is like, "Ah, we got to
No.
figure this out." We both just chip in. We got each other's backs, and it's not like you got to do that because you're a woman. You got to do this because you're a man. We just get things done together as
I
a
would
team.
say the most polarizing thing about nesting has been since it got chilly and we started talking about the thermostat. Okay.
Ooh,
We had to have
you bait and switch me, y'all. I
no,
tell you,
no. So we had to have a whole check-in about the thermostat,
we
y'all.
did, we
So
did.
Sunjata runs cold. Me too. Okay. I just want to be clear. I also run cold, but
Bait and
I
switch.
think about the heating. I think about the heating bill. I think about our energy consumption. And I'm like, come on, keep the temperature down. And he's like, but I'm cold. So
Let me
we
tell you. Let me tell you. So that was one of the biggest things where I was like, yo, we even aligned on our thermostat
we
sensibilities.
are.
And because there's other people I've been in relationship with where when they came to my house, I had to put it way colder than I would want it to be, and I got to layer up. But I wanted them to be comfortable, so I was willing to do it. But then Shani came around, and it was like even in the summer we can have it on tropic. Man, we were good. And then in the winter, you know, I kept mine on my in my house. I kept it at a certain temperature. She never complained. When I went to her house, you know, it was a little cooler in my house, but then you had the space heaters to like balance it out, and you were cool.
It was cooler in my house.
It was cooler in your house,
Okay. Because
but
we had space heaters.
you had the space heaters, and we were able to balance it out, etc. And it was like, it was cool. It didn't feel like we were that off. But then we got into this house, and like you said, it started getting cold for a little stretch here in the fall, and I wanted the temperature on this, and she thought it should be this in terms of like the standard
And
temperature.
I'm like, put some clothes on, like that's my thing. And if it's wintertime, put your clothes on. If
She
it's
ate,
summertime, take your clothes off.
and I was like, no, I was really like, like
He was.
I didn't expect this.
He
I
really
thought that
did.
we was on the same page with this with the we both need to be warm. And my thing is, look, man, I will pay the bills because I want to be comfortable. Like let's just be comfortable. So anyway,
We came to a nice agreement
we figured it out.
and we're trying it out right now. It's
Yeah.
on our check-in board.
Yes.
So far, it's warmed up a bit, but we got space heaters and honestly, it's been okay for me. I have felt cold, but I feel like it's cooler months, so I feel like, it's living. But
Yeah,
we came to an agreement and
we
we're
did.
doing
We
okay.
did.
I think another interesting thing has been merging our families.
Yes. Yes. So my children, they come here various times throughout the week, just depending on their mom's schedule, but also on standard, like on weekends, and every other weekend. And then on holidays when they have breaks from school, they're here. And then just other random times they're here because they are. I'm picking up from school, basketball. They're here all the time. Sometimes they spend a night, sometimes they don't.
Especially now your daughter goes to school closer to us.
Right.
She'll spend a night, a random night
Right. I'll
here.
take her to school, and so they're here. And
And my kids, of course, live here most of the time.
mhm. So it's been cool. I will share again, we talked about some of this in the previous episode as well, but like my son, he's been a little bit slower to warm up to this blended family dynamic that we have than my daughter. My daughter loves it. She's all on board. My daughter loves eating Shani's food. She would eat here every night if she could. She gets along and communicates with and talks to and hangs out at times with your oldest.
Mhm.
So it's been pretty seamless in terms of I can't probably can't use that word because of the way my son has handled it. But let's say for my daughter, it's been seamless.
Yes.
What would you say about it for your kids?
My kids, I think they were nervous at first, but because we took our time getting here, they got a chance to get to know Sunjata and like warm up to him because he would be at the house for the 2 years before we moved in together. So I think they think you're cool. They say that they were like, I bet you Sunjata wakes up in the morning, he just meditates.
Mhm.
I bet you he just like levitates off. He does meditate, but they said that he must levitate off the ground when he meditates because like he's just so like Buddha-esque. They
Pretty
think he's
chill.
so
Pretty chill.
calm and peaceful. So for the most part it hasn't been a problem.
Yeah.
They haven't complained to me, thank goodness. I
Yeah.
think that, like you said, the most challenging thing has been probably my middle child and your son.
Mhm.
They've they're both
And
characters.
they're the same age.
they're the same age.
Mhm.
Okay, like they're like a month apart.
And they're alike in so
They're
many
so
ways.
alike. They're so alike. But that's part of the reason why I feel like,
They bump heads sometimes.
yes.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But they have been, I think, better.
Mhm.
They go back and forth. I think Sadie, that's my daughter, she's trying to like get some, she's understanding boundaries
Yeah,
a little better.
yeah. And my son is understanding tolerance a little better. And but yeah, yeah. I will say it's been fun, like me driving your kids to school, picking them up from school at times, like getting to engage with them in that way. Shani was able to take a trip with another love recently, and guess who held the household down while she was gone with all the kids, got them fed, got them where they need to
All of the
go.
kids, okay? All five of the
All the
kids.
kids were here, and it was me, and we held it down. So
Didn't
it's
call me once. Like, I mean, it wasn't even like, hey, what to do?
yeah, yeah,
Had it down. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
was very proud.
So we doing it,
I think
we
so.
doing the blended family thing, and this nesting thing it's been everything I hoped for. If I'm being real, y'all, I really craved this. Like I said, for 4 long years. After my divorce, and to finally achieve it in 2024, June to be exact, of 2024, and to be living it for the last 5 6 months. It's literally been everything that I dreamed of, y'all. It's been magical. I'm so grateful that this woman came into my world.
Aw.
So grateful.
And that's the in-house D. You know what I'm talking about, ladies. Okay. That is a very that's a fringe benefit. That's an added benefit. I enjoy that one.
Ditto, ditto,
I like
ditto.
that we have like, our own space that we get to make
Yeah, yeah.
together. And that is a great segue to our segment today, which is the Lovey Dovey Gushy Rainbows.
The lovey-dovey gushies.
This is like one of my favorite segments because I get to gush about you.
Yeah, it's just where we, just gush over our love life, because I think a lot of times we talk about the challenges, but a lot of people want to see like what's good about this polyamory thing, like, and so much good that we have to share. So we wanted to be intentional and create this segment to do that. So
Let's see. What's some of the things I can gush about other than you cleaning the floors because I do love that. Um, and taking out the trash because I hate doing that too. But let's start with the fact that they got in-house D. You know what I'm talking about. It's in-house. I don't even gotta go nowhere for it. I don't even gotta wait for it to come over. It's just here any time of day.
let me tell you
I
that
like that.
that's a mutual two-way benefit. Let me tell you. And
But
we talked about like the parenting things, and I just gotta say, like, you know, um, I'm so grateful that Shani creates an inviting, comfortable space for my children. Like I said, my daughter loves coming here and eating, Shani's food, and she feels so comfortable talking to Shani, asking her questions about, things that only, girls and women can relate to. She's not afraid to go to Shani to talk about those things, and I'm so grateful for that. And even when my son has struggled over the last, year with the idea of us coming into this like shared nesting dynamic, Shani has held space and continued to treat him, well, continue to feed him when he's ready to eat, even if he's being picky, or help him when he wants to cook for himself. Like she's like, okay, you need that pan, this pan, like just totally accommodating is what I'm trying to say. And I am so, so grateful for that. My children are so well cared for, even if I'm not here, because, Shani is my nesting partner.
so much same. This is one of the reasons I'm so grateful that we align on how we parent because
Yeah.
you'd be surprised. No, you probably wouldn't be surprised, but sometimes when you're dating, guys will say things about your kids, like they'll be like, why is he crying? Pop him or whatever. And my son is a handful,
Mhm.
more than a handful, I would say. And I feel like there's patience, there's like, I understand, and he doesn't like stress me about the way that I handle things, and he gives his suggestions. He's like, I know you didn't ask for this, but I'm like, please tell me, what do you think? And then he'll tell me something and I'm like, you know what, that's what I'm going to say, I'm going to do that. So I appreciate the advice, and I appreciate you helping, like you said, you pick them up if I'm working, or just various things, you give them snack, like helping Sakai with his snacks, etc. So I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Well, that's a wrap
Yeah,
for
y'all.
episode 2. Thank y'all for being here with us once again. And until next time, love y'all.
Peace.
Peace. That's a wrap for this episode of SunShan Rainbows. We hope today's conversation sparked some new insights, deep reflections, or just gave you a fresh perspective on love and connection.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop us a comment, send us your questions, or share your own experiences. We might even feature them in a future episode.
And don't forget to subscribe to SunShan and Rainbows on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. And if you're vibing with us, please like, comment, share, and leave a review. It helps others find the show and keeps these conversations going.
Want more SunShan and Rainbows? Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at SunShan Rainbows for daily insights, behind the scenes moments, and updates on future episodes.
Until next time,
We
we love y'all. Peace.